Last episode, I said every number I quoted was an aggregate, and that an average can climb while a group inside it falls through the floor. This episode is that group. It is not senior engineers being replaced by a model. It is the people trying to become senior engineers. Start with the best measurement anybody has. Erik Brynjolfsson, Bharat Chandar, and Ruyu Chen at Stanford have been reading payroll records from ADP, which processes pay for millions of American workers. That matters, because it is not a survey of how hiring managers feel, it is what actually got paid, and the current version runs through June 2026. Here is what the payroll says. Employment of 22 to 25-year-olds in the occupations most exposed to AI, and software developer is one of the named ones, fell about 11% between late 2022 and June 2026. In the least exposed occupations, the same age group grew about 10%. Now run it for everybody older, and there is no comparable gap. Workers in their 30s and 40s in the same exposed occupations grew by around 10%, right through the years the youngest group was falling. Put the two lines together and you get the headline number. Young workers in AI-exposed occupations are now about 19% below where they would be had they kept pace with their less exposed peers, and that gap has widened every time these authors have measured it. Two details change what this is. It is happening through hiring rather than firing, so almost nobody experienced it as being replaced, they experienced it as applications going nowhere. And the adjustment shows up in employment rather than pay, so firms are not offering juniors less money, they are opening fewer doors. Now the objection, and it is the right objection. Late 2022 is also when cheap money ended, and the industry started unwinding the hiring it had done during the pandemic. Maybe this is a correction wearing an AI costume. The authors take it seriously, and their answer is why I trust the paper. The divergence survives excluding technology firms, excluding computer occupations, controlling for how exposed each occupation is to interest rate rises, and controlling for how remotable the work is. The most AI-exposed occupations are not the interest rate sensitive ones, construction is, so that confound points the wrong way. And they publish what does not survive, which is rarer. The effect shrinks when they control for the education level of the occupation. Some of the divergence started before ChatGPT existed, and the pattern is sharper in their payroll sample than in national survey data. Their own summary word is descriptive, not causal. I will hold that line too, because a series that spent 13 episodes asking for evidence does not get to stop asking when the evidence flatters it. So call it measured, and not yet explained. Why does it matter more than a bad year for graduates? For that I need a paper from 1985, 9 pages long. Peter Knorr, the Knorr in Backus-Knorr form, wrote a short piece called Programming as Theory Building. His claim is that what a programmer produces is not the program. It is a theory, a working understanding of how the problem maps onto what the machine does, and that theory lives in people, not in files. Which gives the sentence this episode is really about. Knorr wrote that for a new programmer to come to possess an existing theory of a program, it is insufficient that he or she has the opportunity to become familiar with the program text and other documentation. What is required is the opportunity to work in close contact with the programmers who already possess the theory. He compares it to learning an instrument, and he is blunt about how the most important educational activity is the students doing the relevant things under suitable supervision and guidance. Knorr also defines death, which we should recognize by now. Episode 2 found that nothing in this field has ever died of problem death. Knorr names the one death that does. The death of a program happens when the programmer team possessing its theory is dissolved. Not technical, human. Now the bind, because the tasks AI does best are almost exactly the tasks the apprenticeship was made of, the small ones, the well-specified ones, the ones where somebody senior already knows the answer and is watching. That work was never valuable for its output. It was the cheapest way we had of building the theory in a new head. Automate it and you keep this year's output, and you do not get next decade's seniors. I do not have the fix, and I am suspicious of anyone who says they do. Demand for the judgment is rising, the path that produced the judgment is being taken apart, and those two facts will not reconcile themselves. You cannot skip the years, you can only make them denser, and the firms that come through this will be the ones that treat supervision as production rather than overhead. That is the strongest case against my own argument, and I would rather make it myself than have it made in the comments. Next episode, I will go further and tell you exactly what would prove me wrong.